Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Serving Pleasure Podcast. I'm Ethan Jesse.
And I'm Harry Yost.
And this is the podcast where we talk about trashy romance novels. The best kind of novels. Ha! Beat you to it. Couldn't even say it.
What's funny was, I wasn't even going to say it this time.
Because you forgot.
Thanks for filling in my line, Ethan.
So, we went through a lot of problems to get here. Harry's laptop about died in the middle of saving the last episode.
And then my charger, totally frayed at this point, decided that, you know what, it had its last leg. Is that the saying that I want?
Yep.
On its last leg.
On its last leg.
Had its last straw, broke the straw.
The camel that broke the straw's legs.
That's what happened to my charger.
So after a brief snack time and sorting all that out,
we feel better and ready to read more Bone Rider.
Bone Rider!
We're ready to ride more bones.
I'm ready to ride every bone.
Every bone
Every
in the human
bone
body.
That's what they do.
Exactly.
That's what System 6 is about to do. I hope this chapter is back about him.
I do too.
Or the hero.
Yeah, we haven't met the hero yet, so we're hoping that Chapter 2 will bring us Riley? Is that his name?
We'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know. I don't remember. I read the summary like an hour ago, and I don't remember. Whatever. Let's get into it. Am I going to read this one?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, God, now I'm about to burp, and it looks like I'm going to throw up.
It does. I was really worried for you.
Snack time was a bad idea.
But the best idea.
Bone Rider, Chapter 2. This had not been the plan. The plan had been to cut transmissions and sabotage the Widowmaker's navigation system so they'd decelerate and drift off course for a bit. They were off course, all right. No contact with anybody. Internal communications disabled as well as external. Doors sealed shut. Engines pushed to full speed. The ship was hurtling through space deep into uncharted territory. Until a planet got in the way, that is. Then they barely scraped through a ring of small artificial satellites, smashing a few of them in the process.
Rude.
And went down head first with little to no control over anything.
Reckless.
Hashtag reckless. By that point, System 6 had long come to the conclusion that he should have stuck to something simpler. Because obviously the finer points of programming were beyond him. Just like
well, me. I thought you were a genius, System 6.
He's just a normal set of alien armor. He just gained sentience. Give him a break.
Okay. I'll look past it this time, System 6.
I'm tired of this story's inconsistencies in the second chapter.
Whatever. Maybe he's just like all of us. He has his little insecurities.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days.
Everybody
knows what I'm talking about.
System 6. Wait, say Hannah Montana?
Yeah, System 6 is... Or Miley's.
Or Miley's.
It's a secret. It's her secret identity.
I would love to read a book where...
Don't spoil it for me!
I'm so sorry.
Where System 6 enters Miley
Cyrus.
Cyrus.
And then it's just a tongue that can't be tamed. Like, so much. Like, all over the place.
Because obviously the finer points of programming were beyond him. He might have owned up to what he'd done, but that would have meant signing his own death warrant, and would have also been pointless, seeing as there was no way to relay the information to the engine room. He was stuck in the crew quarters with his host and 3 other armor systems, all of them strapped into the paddled wall niches designed for this kind of situation, and wrapped protectively around their vulnerable carriers. Rick had stopped contributing semi-constructive suggestions and mindless bravado a while ago, and was screaming unthinkingly in tune with the rising and falling wails of the audio alarms as the walls grew perceptibly warmer around them. System 6 hadn't expected better from a creature like Rick. He did his best to tune out the shrieking and prepared to detach himself from his unloved host forcefully, unwilling to die twined into the slime bag who'd driven him to such extreme measures in the first place.
Also, I like how System 6, what he hadn't expected better. Okay.
Yeah.
I heard you say he expected better from Rick. I'm like, why did he expect anything from Rick? I thought it was well established that Rick was sick.
Nope, nobody expects anything of this FNG.
Nope. FNG.
Fucking new guy. Out. He wanted out, damn it. He'd already started to tug free, unwrapping himself from Rick's skeleton, bone unriding, pulling the connectors from his host's spine, and was about to rip out Rick's skin, determined to take the fastest way out, no matter what it did to Rick. They were going to die anyway. Just when he was about to launch himself to freedom, though, the ship... Just as he was about to launch himself to freedom, though, the ship hitched and jerked under them, even buckled insecurely. Rick's stomach took offense at the flip, and he would have thrown up their last meal. But System 6 intervened.
Could have been a good... I like System 6 being like, that was a good steak, Rick.
That was a great steak. You're keeping that in there.
Keep it down.
I want to digest that shit before I jump.
Nope. I need all the help I can get. All the energy.
Steak's coming with me. When we signed the prenup, I got the steak.
I got the steak, Rick. That was already established in our relationship. I was the stakeholder. I was the stakeholder of the relationship.
Shut up. He's a primary stakeholder.
He was a primary stakeholder indeed.
I hate you. His host was disgusting enough on the inside. No need to put it out there for all the world to see. System 6 suppressed the gagging brutally and strained all of their senses to figure out what was going on. Look... Oh, God, I thought... Oh, God, that was scary.
It was scary.
I thought that the computer died. Ooh, sorry.
It's still alive.
System 6 suppressed the gagging brutally and strained all of their senses to figure out what was going on. Looked like the technical staff had finally bypassed the ill-conceived changes and regained a measure of control. Too late to avoid a crash, probably, but somehow they'd managed to spin the ship, righting them so the emergency brakes would actually slow them down, instead of merely adding that final dramatic touch to their demise. They still hit the ground at critical velocity.
Oh my gosh.
It was dark when System 6 and his host regained consciousness. Quiet. The only sounds around them were the creaking of deformed metal settling and straining, the raspy breathing of the other survivors, and the drip of fluid somewhere close by. Blorping nearby. What happened? Rick thought, and System 6 had to deliberate for a moment to come up with a non-offensive answer. He was still tied to... Apparently an accident occurred outside.
Someone can't ride a bike.
Mm-hmm. They haven't gotten used to their system
nope,
yet.
Not at
Aliens.
all. What are these brakes? Just like System 6? Trying to navigate the spaceship?
We're all bone riders. Deep down.
We are.
To my bones. What happened, Rick thought, and System 6 had to deliberate for a moment to come up with a non-offensive answer. He was still tied to Rick, still needed him to survive. He couldn't risk offending Rick or tipping him off as to his armor's mutinous disposition. It appears we crashed, he offered finally. But why? Rick whined, fumbling for the buckles of his safety harness. Jess? He asked out loud, his voice shaking. Sen, you there? Someone groaned.
Oh.
Then one by one they reported in.
Yeah.
Unstrapped themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
And regrouped near the exit of their quarters. Outside, emergency lights were flickering weakly, offering just enough illumination for them to comb the tilted, warped rooms and corridors for other survivors. There weren't many. The tech crew had saved their lives by flipping the ship and engaging the tail thrusters at the last second, but that meant the rear section had taken the brunt of the impact.
Ooh.
This is a lot of detail about how the crash happened.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they get as detailed in their sex scenes.
Right. Well, I mean, this is pretty saucy. The rear had taken...
The rear took the brunt of the attack.
Yeesh.
Oh, wow.
Impact.
Impact. And then the next impact. And the next impact.
So impactful.
The doors had been sealed. There'd been nowhere to go and the techs had known it. They'd sacrificed themselves to give the rest of the crew a fighting chance. Aw. System 6 hadn't been created to feel guilt, but he knew no other name for the uncomfortable emotion nagging at him when he realized that despite the tech's efforts, most of the crew had perished anyway in his badly executed bid for time.
System 6 is just a murderer.
He's fallen apart.
He is
He
falling
feels
apart.
bad. He doesn't know how to, but he does.
But he does. Oh.
The four soldiers and their armor systems gained... The four soldiers and their armor systems started at the mangled, partly melted mess of metal. Jesus, that's good.
That is good.
Stared at the mangled, partly melted mess of metal that had once been the heart of the ship.
It's just pretty to listen, like...
Yeah. They didn't need to share the results of their mental calculations. Nobody could have survived in there. Not even the two armor carriers that had last been seen headed that way. The entire back end had been destroyed, including the engine rooms, sleeping quarters, and parts of the science and medical areas. It was a miracle the crash hadn't engaged the self-destruct protocols or directly activated the doomsday glands within the walls that would have turned the entire ship into a pool of acidic sludge.
I also love the thought of, like, you have sweat glands within your doomsday glands. That's, like, once you come...
Oh, man, I gotta slow down. I'm gonna trigger my doomsday glands.
Man!
And then melt into a puddle of acid. It's a good thing I was born with these.
I was born this way.
Why does the ship have glands? I don't know.
Maybe the ship was a being.
This isn't the time for me to complain about self-destruct systems in anything, is there? Okay.
No.
Not now.
We'll
Because
see.
this is romance. This isn't sci-fi.
This is romance.
This is true.
Keep it romantic, Ethan!
This is true love we're making. Jas, the smallest and most agile of them. Ooh, we have a small one, like how he had glasses once before. Squeezed through a gap into the med lab. He found one dead doctor and one dying nurse, whom he put out of his misery with a quick jab through the central nerve cluster at the back of the skull.
Damn!
He just punched it!
Jas! You just, like, straight up punched through that skull.
Punched it. Well, we don't know the anatomy of these creatures
That's
yet.
true. I don't. They could very well have 10 skulls for all I know. Just a
Or
head.
none. It's just goop.
Goopy, goopy, goop.
Goopy, glopping all over. In near total darkness, he searched the rest of the area, but couldn't access the rooms beyond. They would have needed tools to cut through the compacted metal, but the burners had been in the equipment room next to the armory, which was situated next to the sleeping quarters, all of which had been squished flat.
Oh no!
Whoever might have survived and was still trapped back there, they couldn't get to them.
No!
Still, they spent some time searching for a different way in, checking air vents and supply chutes. Their efforts were in vain. The tail end of the Widowmaker had become a mass grave.
Oh, Widowmaker making widows!
That's why it's called the Widowmaker.
Right? This day was destined.
It's like they had a map of the ship and they're just laying it out for me. How come I didn't get any of that of like a mansion or a garden or a maze? I don't know.
I don't know. We know there are dead plants, though.
If you didn't listen to the Duchess of Love, most of this is probably confusing.
Right, if you didn't listen to the Duchess of Love...
Don't!
Fair.
Listen to this.
Because we're really invested in this one.
They did find some survivors in the end.
Oh, thank goodness.
The bridge was partly intact, but the system's failure had kept the shields from coming down over the huge see-through front wall, and the force of the crash had shattered the material and rained razor-sharp shards into the room. 2 of the officers had been skewered in their seats.
Oh, gruesome!
Yeah, this is brutal.
This is brutal.
Yeah, I didn't expect this.
No, I didn't either.
The commander had been lucky. He'd only lost a leg and was currently holding on to the belt, which he'd used as a makeshift tourniquet with grim-faced determination. Oh, this is what we're seeing from the last chapter.
Yeah.
Kerr and Sen covered the broken window wall with seat cushions and started the slow, painful process of moving Calm and his unconscious second in command out of the downed ship. They didn't worry about whether or not they could survive in the environment outside. There were so many tears and holes in the hull they'd been breathing planet air practically since touchdown. It hadn't killed them yet.
Oh,
Frankly.
planet air's gonna kill them!
Water.
Planet Earth air.
Planet Earth air. Frankly, exposure to an alien biosphere was the least of their problems at the moment. Jas and Rick went into the bowels of the ship.
Ew.
The small
Slurpy.
The small hangar section was almost undamaged. Unfortunately, it had been empty when System 6's sabotage programming had kicked in. They had used a lever to force open the doors to the weapons center, and Jas would have dislocated his shoulder if not for System 5's hasty intervention. But it was worth it. 2 of the 4 members of the weapons crew had made it through the crash more or less in one piece. They were wounded and only half conscious, but breathing. It took some time to get them outside, but finally the small band of survivors settled on the scorched ground next to the broken body of the Widowmaker and took stock. It didn't look too good. They were sitting at the bottom of a huge circular crater, a dazzling white sun burning down on them mercilessly from an azure blue sky and rendering everybody but the armor hosts blind. Gravity seemed about the same as what they were used to. A little less, maybe. But the heat and the brightness were debilitating.
Oh my goodness.
The armor systems could and would adapt. The crew, not.
Oh no!
How could they? It's too much. It's too much for them.
It's too bright. It's too sunny.
Just like me anytime I go outside. Or any other science fiction reader.
We've already decided that you are a Bone Rider alien.
I am a bone... Well, if I'm a bone rider, then it wouldn't affect me. Come on, Harry. Know the lore.
I'm sorry, it's only chapter 2. I'm still
There's
learning.
a very deep amount of lore in the Bone Rider universe.
I only have my training wheels, my Bone Rider training wheels. I'm working my way up to the two-wheeler.
To the big Bone Rider.
To the big bone. I'm working my way. I've been working my way back to you, Bone.
They brought a few guns from the weapons center, but the armory was lost to them, as was most of the emergency and medical equipment. They were so far beyond the edges of civilized space that nobody would have found them, even if they had managed to send off a distress signal. So we've established that there are more intelligent civilizations
There
out
are.
there.
Hey, NASA, keep note.
Find the Bone Riders. NASA, this is our note to you. Please listen to Serving Pleasure Podcast. If you work for NASA, find the Bone Riders.
Please, and report back.
Report
XOXO.
back soon. Hugs and kisses. Peace and blessings. Serving Pleasure Podcast. Command might be able to trace the ship's homing beacon eventually, but that could take years. They'd have to scavenge the ship for supplies later when they'd taken care of their wounded and secured a perimeter. All of them were uncomfortably aware that they had no idea what was lurking beyond the edges of the impact crater. Civ, the concussed weapons technician, did his best to provide first aid in the meager shadow of the ship, while the 4 bruised but otherwise unhurt armor hosts formed a protective half-circle around the more vulnerable members of their party. System 6 tried to ignore his host's jumbled, jittery, mental recitation of military crash protocol, as he gathered as much data about the alien world as possible, while not fully bonded. The first thing he noticed was that it smelled interesting, richer than what he was used to, wilder, younger.
Ooh.
I don't like this.
Ooh.
He found that he liked it, felt more at ease here than he had on the training grounds of the ship. The place tasted like fire and grit.
Ooh, yum.
It felt solid and rough.
Oh, God.
Ooh, I'm getting hot right now.
I'm so steamy.
Steamy. Not even anything's happening yet.
Give me a fan.
I just want to fuck the planet Earth right now.
Really? This is just a romance about System 6?
In the planet Earth.
The planet Earth.
Slithered into the soil.
Down to its core.
Bequeathing himself to the planet itself.
Yeah.
It sounded like dirt shifting. Cloth sliding over stone. Right. Over. There. For once, Rick caught on quickly, tipped off by System 6's alarm. He jumped and lifted his gun, prompting the others to follow in suit instinctively. Aliens! Rink thought hysterically. Aliens! There's fucking aliens out there! The sudden movements must have spooked the same aliens, because the next thing they heard was a sharp noise, and the Jas gasped as his armor system flooded his right side to parry a high-velocity projectile that would have taken out half his chest.
Oh.
Fuckers are shooting at us! Jas yelled. Then shoot back! The commander rasped from the ground, his grip around the tourniquet white-knuckled. Things went downhill from there.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. End of chapter 2.
Oh, no.
I think it's kind of cool that we're getting to see both sides.
I think so,
stuff.
too.
I'm a fan of this book.
I am, too.
I'm a fan of Bone Rider.
I'm a fan of the bone.
You know what? I still am glad that we didn't read this first.
I am, too.
Because we needed to figure out how things were going to work.
Exactly.
But we know, hopefully, now. And again, if you have any comments that you want to send us, send those to servingpleasurepodcast@gmail.com or on our Twitter @servingpp or on Facebook at facebook.com/servingpodcast. I'm going to get all of those out there now.
Yeah, you do. You did a good job.
Should I repeat them?
No.
Okay.
If you want to hear them again,
Play it over.
play it over.
Go back a minute.
Rewind like 15 seconds.
Probably a minute now. I don't
True.
know. We'll get there. Thoughts on this chapter? I don't know. This was well written.
It's nice. I did have a thought.
I want to fuck the earth.
Who doesn't?
Every
Every time I just step outside my apartment, I'm like, nature!
my sweet mother Gaia.
Oh, hey girl, I missed you. You're looking good today. It's hot.
Just stroking my hand on the grass.
I just like roll to work every morning.
Ooh, you real hot today.
Ooh, so soft, so thick.
Summer lovin',
Hell.
fucking the earth.
Summer lovin', look at it.
Feeling my girth.
Yeah.
We were on the same page.
Yes, we were.
Sorry, you were saying something?
I know, I was just so distracted by wanting to sing Summer lovin'.
Harry.
No, I think I'm excited to see what's going to be happening next and what's going to, for this all to pick up.
Where's Riley?
Where is Riley, though? That is like the biggest question that I have.
You know what? I don't know how long this book is. We didn't check how many chapters.
We didn't check.
This could be bad.
This could be a long, long book. We have 14 hours and 17 minutes left in the
current
book.
Progress. So I assume that means there's about 14 chapters, which isn't that bad.
Not bad at all.
Stick around.
It's going to be an exciting time.
Bye! You jumped.